Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. Government today appointed Ante Ramljak as Agrokor's special commissioner. The decision was immediately approved by the commercial court. Ramljak has already assumed his post and is expected to present his team to the public tomorrow.
We face a battle for Agrokor, for its employees and for its creditors. And we face a battle to ensure that this does not spill over into the entire Croatian economy and the wider region.
Prime Minister Andrej Plenković and Ramljak met with Agrokor suppliers today. It was agreed that those suppliers with blocked accounts will have priority in collecting money owed to them.
And I respect that. Ms. Vidaković has explained that the suppliers have reached a consensus that funds be paid out first to those companies who have themselves had their accounts blocked.
Among other things, we will first unblock the accounts of those companies that have frozen accounts. Then we will resolve those companies for whom Konzum represents 70 to 80% of their total revenues and make a scale of priority. We have here a very high level of solidarity among all suppliers, and believe me that we will stay unified until the end.
The FINA financial agency has confirmed that companies within the Agrokor concern have had their accounts unblocked. Prime Minister Plenković met with bank representatives today, confirming that Agrokor's creditors support the appointment of Ante Ramljak as well as plans for the company's restructuring.
Second, and what is most important, is an agreement and confirmation of the readiness of these 6 banks, following last week's meeting, that they will inject fresh liquidity, meaning a new line of credit for Agrokor, which will enable the special commissioner to ensure continued operations, pay out suppliers, and that employees get their salaries by Easter. That is our goal, and that is what the banks have confirmed here today. The banks today agreed to ensure additional liquidity in the amount of 150 million euro. The operational implementation will depend on the banks, the details of which will be agreed upon with the special commissioner.
The opposition SDP and HNS have commented on Ante Ramljak's appointment as Agrokor's special commissioner. SDP MP Siniša Hajdaš-Dončić called the appointment a continuation of the HDZ's policies from the time of transformation and privatization.
3 lost months have brought us to this catastrophic situation, blockages, and serious problems for Agrokor suppliers. I expect, of course, dialogue, as opposed to the Prime Minister, who rejected timely assistance.
Meanwhile, the Interior and Justice Ministers, both of whom come from the ranks of the junior party in the coalition government Most, announced at today's cabinet session that responsibility for Agrokor's demise will be investigated. Most leader and Parliament Speaker Božo Petrov has already filed criminal charges against Agrokor owner Ivica Todorić.
This solution does not mean amnesty for those who brought us to this point, and in that vein, will make the necessary steps to establish responsibility for the situation we have found ourselves in.
Arriving at today's cabinet session, Finance Minister Zdravko Marić, a former senior manager in Agrokor, who is seen by some as being in conflict of interest, rejected calls for his resignation.
We all know what the democratic process is for initiating a vote of no confidence. When that kind of process is formally initiated, then I will respond to such an initiative.
The investigation into Tomislav Saucha, the chief of staff to former SDP Prime Minister Zoran Milanović, has been widened. As such, the Credentials and Privileges Committee has received a request that he be stripped of his parliamentary immunity again. The broadened investigation includes additional abuse of office charges. Saucha is suspected of defrauding the state budget through falsified travel expense claims. In international news, Norway has raised its terror threat level after a makeshift bomb was found in Oslo. The device, which police say was only capable of causing limited damage, was destroyed. A 17-year-old Russian citizen who moved to Norway in 2010 and had applied for asylum has been arrested.
He has applied for permanent residence in Sweden. He has been denied that, and he's been wanted by the police, though he's not been in custody of the migration office.
Meanwhile, in Sweden today, citizens and top state officials observed a minute of silence for the 4 people killed in an attack on Friday when a truck plowed into civilians in downtown Stockholm. The primary suspect is an Uzbek asylum seeker named Rakhmat Akilov. Egypt has declared a state of emergency following the Palm Sunday bombings of 2 Coptic churches, which left 49 people dead. The Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attacks on the Christian minority. The attacks come only 3 weeks ahead of a visit by Pope Francis. Good news from the tourism sector as the number of bookings has soared across the country for the Easter holiday. Leading the way is the Istrian Peninsula, which is expecting a 70% rise in Easter bookings compared to the previous year. Taking a quick look at sports, in handball, Macedonian side Vardar won its 3rd title in the regional Ceha League, beating Hungarian side Veszprém 26-21 on Sunday. PPD Zagreb finished 4th after losing to Belarusian side Meshkov 23-19. In women's handball, Zagreb's Lokomotiva has advanced to the final of the Challenge Cup after beating Dutch side Virt 27-16. This is Lokomotiva's first European final since 1998. And now the forecast for tomorrow. Passing cloud cover with rain throughout the interior and northern Adriatic. There could be some thunderstorms as well. Partly to predominantly sunny in Dalmatia and Slavonia. There will be a moderate to strong northerly and northeasterly inland with a mild to moderate southeasterly and southwesterly on the coast, shifting to a northeasterly in the evening on the northern Adriatic. Morning lows of 5 to 10 degrees Celsius inland, 8 to 13 on the coast, will give way to highs of 16 to 21 degrees. The 3-day forecast for the interior calls for partly sunny skies with a slight chance of some light rain in mountainous regions. Partly to predominantly sunny and relatively warm on the coast. And that wraps up the news. Be sure to join us again tomorrow night.